Every doctor who examined 8-year-old Lily Morgan reached the same heartbreaking conclusion. I'm sorry. We've tried everything currently available. Victoria Morgan sat beside her daughter's wheelchair, holding back tears she refused to let Lily see. As CEO of one of the country's largest medical technology companies, Victoria could solve almost any business problem. She negotiated billion-dollar contracts, led thousands of employees, made impossible decisions every day. But nothing in her success prepared her for hearing specialists quietly admit they had run out of answers for the person she loved most. Lily had been born with a rare neurological condition that severely affected movement in her legs. She could feel them. She could move them slightly. But standing without assistance seemed impossible. For years, Victoria searched the world for treatments. She flew to renowned hospitals, consulted famous specialists, spent millions of dollars on therapies, equipment, and experimental programs. Each offered hope. None delivered the breakthrough they longed for. One rainy afternoon, after another disappointing consultation, Victoria wheeled Lily through a city park. Lily noticed children running across the playground. She smiled anyway. They look like they are having fun. Victoria forced a smile. They do? Lily quietly asked. Mom. Yes. If I never run, will you still be proud of me? Victoria immediately knelt beside the wheelchair. I was proud of you the day you were born. You never have to earn my love. Lily hugged her mother tightly. Nearby, another parent watched the touching moment. His name was Daniel Brooks, a widowed single father. Beside him stood his 6-year-old son, Noah, who held a small toy airplane. Daniel had spent years serving as a physical rehabilitation specialist for injured military veterans before leaving the profession to raise Noah after his wife's passing. He wasn't a miracle worker. He never claimed to be. But he understood something many people overlooked. Sometimes healing begins with believing a tiny improvement still matters. As Victoria prepared to leave the park, Noah accidentally dropped his toy airplane near Lily's wheelchair. I'm sorry. He hurried over. Lily picked up the airplane and smiled. It's really cool. My dad made it. Daniel walked over. Thank you. The two parents exchanged polite smiles. Noah looked at Lily. Do you want to see my secret? Without waiting for an answer, he placed the toy airplane a few feet away. Then he carefully took 3 slow steps toward it. My dad says every big adventure starts with one little step. Lily smiled. I wish I could. Daniel noticed Victoria's expression. Years of disappointment. Years of hope slowly fading. He spoke gently. I'm sorry if this is too personal. Victoria nodded politely. It's all right. I'm a rehabilitation specialist. I couldn't help noticing Lily's leg braces. Victoria sighed. We've seen everyone. I believe you. Daniel smiled kindly. I'm not offering a cure. I'm only saying. Sometimes progress gets buried beneath impossible expectations. Victoria crossed her arms. You think the specialists missed something? No. I think they were trying to help Lily run. He looked toward the little girl. I'd like to help her celebrate standing. Those words stayed with Victoria. Running. Walking. Standing. Somewhere along the journey, every conversation had focused on the finish line. Very few had appreciated the first step. Over the next week, Victoria couldn't stop thinking about the quiet single father in the park. Eventually she found his rehabilitation clinic. It wasn't large. No expensive equipment filled the rooms. Instead, photographs covered the walls. Military veterans smiling beside walkers. Children celebrating small victories. Families hugging. Beneath one framed picture hung a handwritten quote. Never measure progress against perfection. Measure it against yesterday. Victoria read it twice. Daniel stepped out of a treatment room. I wondered if you might come. She smiled slightly. I almost didn't. I've heard that before. Victoria looked around. This place doesn't look like the hospitals we visited. Daniel laughed softly. It isn't. It's a place where nobody is expected to become perfect. They are only expected to become a little stronger than they were yesterday. Lily looked around curiously. Can I try? Daniel knelt beside her. You can always try. But we make one promise first. What promise? We never call something a failure if we learn from it. Lily smiled. I can do that. The first therapy session lasted less than 30 minutes. Daniel didn't ask Lily to walk. He didn't even ask her to stand. Instead, he turned every exercise into a game. Reaching for colorful blocks. Balancing balloons. Moving her feet to gentle music. Noah joined whenever he visited after school, cheering Lily through every tiny success. For the first time in years, therapy didn't feel like another impossible challenge. It felt like childhood. Week after week, Daniel celebrated victories most people overlooked. An extra second of balance. A stronger muscle response. 1 inch more movement. Each achievement mattered. Victoria watched quietly from the corner of the room. She realized something remarkable. Daniel wasn't changing Lily's condition overnight. He was changing something just as important. He was rebuilding the little girl's confidence, one tiny victory at a time. And before long, that confidence would lead to a moment no one, not even the world's leading specialists, had believed they would ever witness. 6 months passed. Every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, Lily looked forward to visiting Daniel's rehabilitation center. Not because therapy had become easy. Because it had become joyful. Daniel never began a session by asking, "Can you walk today?" Instead, he always asked, "What would you like to accomplish today?" Sometimes Lily answered, "I want to balance 5 seconds longer." Other days she smiled and said, "I want to beat Noah at balloon volleyball." Every small goal became a celebration. Victoria noticed something even more important. Her daughter laughed again. For years, every medical appointment had reminded Lily of what she couldn't do. Daniel constantly reminded her of what she could. One afternoon, he placed 2 sturdy parallel bars in front of Lily. He knelt beside her wheelchair. "Today's different." Lily looked curious. "Am I going to walk?" Daniel smiled. "We're not thinking about walking. We're only thinking about standing." He gently helped her place both hands on the bars. Victoria stood quietly across the room, barely breathing. Lily took a deep breath. Her legs trembled. Daniel never rushed her. "You've got this. I'm right here." Slowly, carefully, Lily pushed upward. For the first time without being fully lifted, she supported her own weight for a few seconds. Victoria covered her mouth. Tears streamed down her face. Lily looked down in disbelief. "I'm standing." Daniel smiled proudly. "You are." The room erupted in applause. Noah clapped so hard that everyone laughed. But Daniel wasn't finished. A few weeks later, after many more sessions, he placed a bright yellow star sticker just inches in front of Lily. "What if I can't?" she whispered. Daniel answered with the same calm voice he had used from the beginning. "Then we'll celebrate trying." She nodded. Holding tightly to the parallel bars, Lily slowly shifted her weight. Her right foot moved forward. Only a few inches. Then her left foot followed. 1 step. The room became completely silent. Victoria couldn't believe what she was seeing. Lily stared at her own feet. "I did it." Daniel smiled. "You certainly did." Victoria ran forward and hugged her daughter. Neither of them noticed they were both crying. Word of Lily's progress quickly spread through Victoria's company. Employees who had quietly followed the family's journey celebrated together. One engineer suggested creating lighter support braces using the company's newest materials. Another volunteered weekends to help improve adaptive mobility devices. Soon, an entire research team formed, not because the CEO asked them to, but because Lily had inspired them. Victoria later invited Daniel to speak at the company's annual leadership conference. Standing before thousands of employees, Daniel shared no dramatic stories. Instead, he held up a photograph of Lily taking that first step. "This," he said, "is what progress looks like. It's rarely fast. It's almost never perfect. But it's always worth celebrating." A young employee asked, "What made the biggest difference?" Daniel smiled. "I stopped trying to impress people with impossible promises. I simply refused to let anyone lose hope." The audience stood and applauded. Months later, Lily attended her school's spring concert. Instead of entering in her wheelchair, she walked slowly onto the stage using her braces and a pair of forearm crutches. The entire audience rose to its feet. Teachers wiped away tears. Parents applauded. Lily looked toward the front row. Daniel, Noah, and Victoria smiled back at her. After the performance, Lily hugged Daniel tightly. "You know what? What? I don't think my first step was the best part." Daniel looked surprised. "What was?" "You believed I could take it. Before I did." Years later, Lily grew into a determined young woman. Although she still used mobility aids for longer distances, she inspired thousands by speaking about resilience and perseverance. During one interview, a reporter asked, "Who changed your life?" Lily smiled. "A single dad. He never promised I'd run. He never guaranteed miracles. He only asked me to take one more step than I took yesterday. And somehow, those little steps changed everything." The audience applauded warmly. After the interview, Victoria quietly thanked Daniel. "I spent years trying to buy the perfect solution." Daniel smiled. "You were trying to help your daughter. I know. But you taught me something." "What's that?" "Hope doesn't always arrive through extraordinary breakthroughs. Sometimes it arrives through ordinary people who refuse to give up." People remembered the story because a CEO believed her daughter would never run until a humble single father helped her take a step. But those who understood the full story knew the greatest miracle wasn't that Lily stood or walked. It was that someone saw possibility where others saw only limitations, replacing despair with patience, fear with confidence, and proving that life's biggest victories often begin with the courage to celebrate the smallest first step.